My father said I have to wear a hijab, and I put it on my head, and I hated it.
To be seen, we have to work we have to put in double the effort. I kind of started feeling angry at the women who could still go and dress up.
If you wear a hijab, why do you have makeup on? If you wear a hijab, why do you listen to music?
When I came back, I crashed. I crashed so bad, I couldn't get up from the bed for like 6 months.
There was an assumption that I'm oppressed and I'm going to have to ask my husband for permission before I can do things.
Lowest part of my life, I think those were the biggest mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It taught me so much.
Welcome, Kiran, to Villa 58. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much. I was really looking forward to see you.
No, I'm so glad you came. So, Kiran, I want to start with your book, your award-winning book, Pink Shoes and Jilbab. Why did you write that book?
Pink Shoes and Jilbab is actually a self-portrait sort of a thing, because pink shoes defines my, the adventurous side, the fun side, and Jilbab is the religious side that kind of keeps me grounded. So, and growing up, learning about hijab, and I don't come from a very religious family, so that was a struggle. If you read the book, you know. So, finding the groundings, finding everything, and how to balance those two things, because I'm a very ambitious person as well. So ambitious, adventure, and your values and your jilbab, basically. So how to balance those out?
That's great. I think what I really liked about your story was how honest it was, and it wasn't like a perfect story. Particularly when you shared how you started wearing the hijab. I think I loved that it was honest, and you used the word comical when you described how you started putting on the hijab. And I think not enough women share stories of when they started wearing a hijab because we're embarrassed.
That was, I think in the intro you must have read that part of the reason why I wrote the book was because either you get the, pious wives of the Prophet ﷺ or those kind of, but then there is a real struggle in our day and age where, you start something and it's hard and then you leave it and then you come back. And then, as I said in the book, looking like an egg, one day your hair is flowing beautifully and the next day you're looking like an egg. So that's real. And you want to do it for your Lord and because it matters to you.
Completely. But it's not easy. And I think I like that you showed that it's not easy and that you want to wear the clothes that you do and you want to have your hair in a certain way, but you battle with yourself to do the right thing. And I think these struggles are important to share because sometimes I think like people just have a perfect hijab story. And I listen to their stories sometimes and I think my one wasn't perfect, but I don't share it because I'm embarrassed of it. So when I read yours, I was like, oh, I'm glad somebody is sharing.
I think in life, I found that most things that you learn from are not perfect. And another thing is coming from a family who's workaholics and perfectionists, I realized that perfection only belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there's, in search of perfection, what we do is, we beat ourselves up. Part of my coaching as well goes in that just love the process, just trust the process, and things become beautiful eventually.
Yeah, and not put so much pressure on yourself to get it so perfectly right. And I think when we don't do things perfectly, we beat ourselves up. Like everybody else is doing it so easily. They hit 12, they put their hijab on, there's no drama. Why is it so hard for me? So that's something I battled with as well. So when you wrote the book, what did you learn about yourself in the process of writing?
It wasn't an easy journey, definitely. It was hard, especially some part, the chapter about what about love, and some things really brought some bad memories even. So I had to there were times I just put the book down and just cried straight out. But I think more than learning about myself, I think it gave me a ground to grow on. It kind of gave me a vision that, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to work on, make bigger. And that's why, later on in my life, the school came up, the coaching took up so much space in my life because I realized after the book and that people are really struggling in their lives, and nothing is as perfect as the Instagram shows us.
So you shared a story which shows that journey doesn't have to be perfect as long as you just keep on trying.
I don't think it's ever perfect. I think there's a, edited version that we show to the world, but there's always a battle going on. I always used to love this quote, be like a duck, working like crazy underneath while being calm on the surface. But then I realized eventually that sometimes you have to show your struggles so that, you can give other people hope.
See, I'm that duck. No one will know what's going on beneath the surface because I don't want to share how hard it is. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's face. I don't know if it's because of family. But I just want to show, not that it's easy for me, but just that I'm not struggling. That's a very private part of me. But
I get it. There are many parts that I don't show as well. But I have to select a few that I do choose to share. Because otherwise it's too tempered, it's too edited, the version we show to the world.
I agree.
Yeah.
So speaking of editing, I've been working as well on my reflective memoir as well for a few years. And I have to say the best part of the process has been the editing. It's when I write something and then the editor comes back with feedback like, why did you do that? What did that look like? Show, not tell. And all of this really makes me go deeper. And it's almost like it's therapeutic. So I really enjoy the process. I haven't finished yet, but I'm enjoying the journey.
It is very, it gives you an insight of how honest you want to be. Because when my editor would come with the edits, I would be like, no, this doesn't sound like me. Please take it back. And the fights with the editors. She'll be like pushing herself through. No, Kiran, you have to. And I'm like, no. Because if you see in the intro at the back, I said there are question marks in a girl's head. And the editor fought with me that, no, questions in the girl's head. I said, no, question marks. and I knew it was grammatically not right, but I just, because I had the image of girls having those question marks around their head, that is what I felt I was dealing with at that time.
Fair enough. So you pushed back.
Yes, I did.
Good for you. So for anyone out there who knows that they've got a book inside them, what advice would you give them? Where should they begin?
I think I was very lucky that COVID came when it did. It gave me that, because, things were shutting down and I was like, oh, please not the gym. Please don't close my gym. Because, you want to go out of the house and do things. But then, Qadar Allah, everything closed down. And then you were left with yourself. And then, then I started writing. I'm so glad I got that 1 year there where I could sit down, and especially Ramadan. Ramadan was very reflective because I was like, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm doing this for you, for all the hijabi women, getting the niyyah straight and getting back down to work. So if anybody wants to write the book, I would say you have to sit down with yourself for a prolonged period of time.
And ask why.
Yes.
Why are you writing it?
Yes. I think when you start writing, you do ask yourself so many times, why? So many versions were deleted. I wrote something, it sounded so bookish. I had to delete it and then come out with another vulnerable side of myself, another, moment that stood out from that whole story. The reflections of the mirror, how we hated ourselves when you first put the hijab on. The struggle was real, and then you have to sit down with those things. People write about all kinds of things, but I think everything requires you to just sit down with yourself, with your values and purpose.
And I think for a reader, you want to find yourself in the story. So when you were sharing how you felt you looked when you looked in the mirror, I remembered the time when I was 12 years old and my father said I have to wear a hijab, and I put it on my head and I hated it. It looked so wrong with not wrong, but like off with my school uniform. I thought my nose looked too big. I thought everything was wrong. But I think it's important to know that it's okay to feel like that as well, because for so long I felt so embarrassed that I didn't like it. I was like it took me a long time to accept the hijab.
I think because of the book, it was easier for my kids, because, my elder one started really early, even before it was further on her. She started, I think, at 8 or 9. She's like, Mama, I just want to experiment with it. She'd go to school, she just wear it for the bus ride. That's how her journey started. And then the second one, she, like, when she grew up, and I was like, Huran, we have to do this soon. And she didn't argue or anything. We just tried out at home first. Then I took her for a full shopping spree. I said, this is a new wardrobe and you have to enjoy it, and you own what you feel it is. And, she bought even the pants, even the shoes, because, if I knew from experience, if one thing is not comfortable, you won't be comfortable in your hijab. So I gave her whatever she wanted. And her journey became so much easier. So sometimes, going through the process of discomfort, it brings ease to other people.
I agree. And I've noticed that people do things these days that unheard of in our time, like those hijab parties.
Yeah.
And I strongly celebrate that. That's amazing, because you're making something fun, and there's gifts, and there's like, this is lovely, this is amazing. So it does change the connotation that you have in your mind, rather than I look like an egghead.
Yeah.
And I'm embarrassed. So as well as you talking about the physical aspect of hijab as well, you also shed light on how sometimes people have stories in their heads about a woman who covers. And one of the stories is that she's not ambitious, she doesn't want much out of life, or there's like this negative story that they form in their minds. And for me, especially when I worked in the UK, there was an assumption that I'm oppressed and I'm going to have to ask my husband for permission before I can do things. And I was always saying, no, I'm not like that. It's not like this. And after a little while, doesn't it just get exhausting?
I'm actually quite happy that things are changing now. With my daughter and everything, I see that people are very open and they're very accepting, and this is such a nice change. We had to prove ourselves. We had to be, I struggled a lot. I struggled with the hijab. I have to be the right Muslim because everybody expects me to be the perfect Muslimah. And then at the same time, there were my ambitions and there was my love for color that I had to leave behind because I decided to wear a black abaya. So, I forgot where we started from, but...
But things are changing for sure. But I think some Muslim women are still struggling. So I had a previous guest who shared something that you wrote in the book as well, which is that people don't see Muslim women. It's like we're invisible. It's a real thing. So she was speaking about it. And I remember feeling the same. And then I saw it being read. I read it in your book as well, that to be seen, we have to work harder. We have to prove ourselves.
That's true. And I did a lot of research on that topic when I was writing the book. That to be seen, we have to work we have to put in double the effort. But I don't feel that it's as hard as it was even 6 years ago. I think it's getting easier day by day. People are actually opening up to the Muslim version of women. Maybe my side of the world, maybe not all, but there is some acceptance. And when you go abroad, I feel the quote in the Quran that wear the hijab so that you may be known, you may be recognized. I felt it, especially when I was in Europe. Every time some hijabi passed by you and she said, Assalamu alaikum. And, so it's like a secret connection between you and the other a girl who's covering or who's a Muslimah. They know who you are and what values you would hold. So recently, I feel more seen then before I used to feel like I'm completely eliminated. But I think that's also maybe I changed as well. Maybe the confidence grew as well. Maybe I'm more comfortable in my skin and I'm not as stiff as I used to be.
Yeah, makes sense. And I agree with you that the world is changing. Even 6 years ago, the way a covered Muslim woman would be perceived was very different. But also, I think it depends where you are. Like for me personally, living in the UAE and being a covered Muslim woman here is far easier than when I go back home to the UK. It's like I go 10 steps back to again, like, no, I can speak English. No, I am educated. And I feel like I'm going back to...
It's still the same thing?
In certain workplaces, for sure. Actually, one of my friends, she works here and she feels it here in some of the Western schools as well. So I think it depends on the environment. And some people are still where they shouldn't be right now.
That's actually sad. Well, we went to this resort in Fujairah, and it was my husband was traveling with my son for his university. So it was me and the 3 kids. We went. I was the only hijabi there. Can you believe it? And it was worse than I would say Western.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you feel uncomfortable?
No, it was as much my city as theirs. So I held my ground. It's me. I have changed as well. I've learned to take up space. If you don't want to, I'm sorry. It's as much mine as yours.
Fair enough. No, I completely agree with you. So you mentioned earlier that you had this notion in your head that if I'm covering, I have to be perfect, like the perfect Muslim woman. And I think this is something that we see reflected back to us from other people as well, that if you wear a hijab, why do you have makeup on? If you wear a hijab, why do you listen to music? Or like there's this expectation of perfection because you are a visibly Muslim woman.
Initially, it was actually thrown at my face like an insult. Like, and I believe me, when I started hijab, I stopped wearing any makeup. It was just a very bare minimum Vaseline or something like that. But even then, those who didn't want to stop would not stop. Everything was thrown at my face. Oh, you could talk about Islam? How about this? Okay, I stopped 1 thing, 2 things, 3 things. And I was doing it for the pleasure of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. But then, then I realized it's more, I have to be very honest in my journey. It has to be between me and Allah only. It's not pleasing the people because they'll always come and throw things at you. And
I agree, because if you take your makeup off because somebody said something, then who are you taking your makeup off for? Is it the person or is it God?
At that time, it seemed like it was required. I'm sure it is also required from me right now. But then I've also felt there is something that I've never spoken about, and that was when I stopped wearing makeup and I stopped dressing up so much, only black, I kind of started feeling angry at the women who could still go and dress up. I was like, these ignorant people, and they don't know, and why are they wasting? So, I felt the anger was, and I'm talking about really early, like when I started my Quran journey and this. And I felt, and I could see that there is something that is unfamiliar, that is not me, but there was anger for other people. And then I realized, I said, this is not right. This is not Islam. Either whatever I do, I have to be at peace with it. And other people, whatever they're doing, it's none of my business. So I have to, and there is another story I'm writing, how I started wearing a little bit of more color. It started from a conversation with my children. And I realized that if I don't give them permission, because I could see that my daughter, she was young at that time, she was being hesitant in being herself. She would question 10 times before, being in kids who were being themselves. She would, she would regress. She would hesitate. And I could see that, and I felt, and there was one conversation where I realized that if I don't give her the permission to be herself, I mean, if she doesn't see me doing that, then she won't ever be able to do that.
I really like that you shared that you had enough insight within yourself to realize that you being angry with other people for being able to dress in a certain way was not a them issue, it was a you issue, which takes a lot of introspection to realize that actually I'm bothered and I need to be at peace with where I am, rather than look at how other people are being and how they're free. So I think that takes a lot of growth.
Yeah, so I think having makeup is, I mean, in my dictionary, having makeup and not having these ugly thoughts, I think that's being a better Muslim.
It is.
Than actually being so proper and then having these angry thoughts in my mind that you kafir, you kafir, you kafir, you know?
I know. But it takes work. I think
it
there's a reason
always
why it's a journey. Maybe you'll start being judgmental and then you move on to no, I need to be at peace and have compassion for other people. So
and I think that's why I do coaching, because it's a relationship with yourself. You're more in conversation with yourself than anyone else, and you realize what's changing, and that's why I'm very, very passionate about emotional awareness among the children and the women. Mostly because, you know, if you're not aware of your own self, you'll always blame the other person.
Speaking of empathy, so you shared that empathy is not when somebody is sharing a story which is very difficult, you interject with, I went through the same thing and look at me and I had it harder than you.
It's actually, again, I used to do that a lot because I was taught that this is how you explain to the other person. And I was actually, taught this, that you have to show them that, how people from Gaza has it worse, or, how I overcame this problem. And I'm very embarrassed. I used to do that a lot. I sometimes still do that, and I have to hold my back. Kiran, hold it. It's not about you. So, and another thing is, I feel empathy can be learned. I was not an empathetic person, and I really worked on it. I'm still working on it.
But it's great that you had the awareness to recognize that you wasn't an empathetic person. But this example that you use of when somebody's sharing their hard story and you interject with my story was harder, I used to do that a lot. And it took me many years to realize that is not helpful. Because if somebody is saying they've struggled with something by sharing that you've struggled and look how I prevailed and look at me, everybody, it doesn't make them feel better. And another example you used, which really moved me, which was when somebody is saying they're going through something difficult and you pipe in with, be grateful.
I hate that one. I hate that one so much. Everybody has their own story. And I think being an educator, you would not understand that my empathy grew a lot in like all shapes and sizes, like a forest. You know, the ayatul bir, that the word bir,
yes.
The righteousness, goodness, comes from the word, from the
word.
Yeah, it comes from the root word means forest. And, just like righteousness has all shapes and kinds, like you can be kind to a person, a cat, or you can invest money for something, give money, water, anything. There's so many shapes and sizes. And I feel empathy is the same. And in the school, you realize that it kind of opens your horizon of what empathy can be, At home, with the kids, with the husband, it's very limited view of empathy that we see. But I feel being, with so many people in a day, your colleagues and students, and that's an opportunity to empathize every minute.
I agree. So
even people who are aggressive with you, even people who don't agree with you,
you can be empathetic.
Yes,
you can.
Yes.
But when we do tell people to be grateful when they're going through something hard, how does that help the sad story that they're going, the sad time that they're going through? So I remember when I was in a position where I had a miscarriage, and it was my second one, and I was feeling obviously in a very dark place. And somebody says to me, you need to be grateful because you already have 2 children. And I remember thinking, first I feel bad, now I feel guilty too, because I'm feeling sad for what's just happened. So this is why I feel so strongly about the fact that you can feel sad and also grateful at the same time.
Exactly. There can be multiple emotions in you, and having 2 kids does not mean that third one meant nothing. Everything has their own weight. In Allah's universe, you can see there's an ant, and there's a human, and there's an elephant, and everybody has their own space, and very rightly so. Everybody has their own space with their intellect, with their whatever Allah has given them. We all have our space given to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And similarly, all emotions have their own space. Grief, gratefulness, thankfulness, so many emotions that we feel. Everything has a place because Allah created them for a purpose.
And they can coexist at the same time.
Yes.
You can be grateful for your children, but also sad for what you've just lost at the same time. So they don't have to compete with each other as well.
And if you see, there's no competition in the world that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. There is no competition. I feel everything, it kind of saddens me as well that, if I'm sharing a view with you, that doesn't mean that you have to come up with a better one or say, Kiran, you, not so much, me, a little bit more.
It is, and it shuts you up. If I'm complaining about something or struggling with something, if you just tell me to be grateful, I'm going to stop talking because now I feel bad that you think I'm ungrateful. So I think this is, for me personally, the most dangerous one because I hear it a lot. We get reminded to be grateful, which I feel doesn't take away from the pains you might be going through. You can still be grateful, but you're still hurting. And sometimes we just want to be heard. And that's like the strongest form of empathy is just hear me out.
Yeah, I completely get you because in coaching, we are supposed to just listen, have a safe space, and not just safe space for people you like, even for those you don't agree with, because, I think everybody deserves it, even if you agree with them or not.
For sure. So in your coaching, so I understand you are a NLP practitioner, hypnotherapist, life coach. In your experience of working with clients, what patterns do you see keep on coming up again and again?
Limiting beliefs, I'm not enough, I'm not doing it right. It does not matter what age the child is or the mother is. They keep on coming. I'm not enough, and generational traumas handed over from grandmothers to mothers to how, a person defining their worth by how they're sitting, what they're achieving, if they can cook, if they can get A stars. Again, a lot of lack of empathy.
Yeah, so you see a lot of that in the work that you do with your clients. So coming to self-limiting beliefs, so if somebody comes up to you and they've got self-limiting beliefs, what does that look like and how do you do the work with them?
The conversations go on like we are talking right now. I just ask them, okay, what do you need help with? All of that. And then in their words, you can see how small they see themselves. I can't do that. And let me tell you, when a person meets you for the first time, I wouldn't want you to think bad of me, right? When I meet you the first time, I would want to give you the best impression of myself. Yeah, I have a problem, but I do this, I do that. I'll sort of keep myself very well framed. And even then you can see that how the person is projecting something, but they have a certain lens that they see that, no, these things cannot be changed.
So do you challenge their views when they say, I can't do this?
I question them. Mm-hmm. How about that? Or I just ask I repeat the words they say. And
you work like that with them. So you mentioned in your book that you did the course with Muhammad AlShareef, the Dua Visionary course.
Muhammad AlShareef, when he came to Dubai, Allah maghfir lahu, he's my, it's very hard for me to not cry when his name is mentioned because he's a big personality in my life. Mm-hmm. When he came to Dubai, the first thing he did was in Islamic charitable affairs, he did the time management course. Mm-hmm. First ever. And after that, he did the shepherd's path. And it was the whole, I think it was 2 weekends, changed my life. That whole, you know how he speaks. It was like we were living in the time with the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and we were, the whole seerah was. And then that's how I got to the Visionaire program. And Muhammad AlShareef, before he passed away, he's offered this millennial, so your vision for the next 10 years.
It was a decade.
The decade edition.
Yeah.
Did you attend that?
Not that one, but I did the Visionaire. That's why I wanted to bring it up with you, because he focuses on self-limiting beliefs and how they show up in the way we pray and we ask for God. And I didn't think I had any until I did the course. Because when I pray, I'm thinking, do I deserve this? Am I worthy? Or I already have so much? Or can I even achieve this or have this? But doing the course reframed my mind, and it reminded me of NLP, because it's a lot to do with
it is NLP.
Limiting.
I'm sure he must have done. It speaks from the language he uses. It's very evident that he's done neurolinguistics, because what is NLP? It's neurolinguistic programming. It's actually reprogramming, I would say, because you have a certain beliefs, and the neurons are your neural pathways are made, and then you challenge them, and with language you change those patterns.
And you do something enough times, and it can rewire the patterns.
Yes.
And I think in NLP, from what I understand, you also focus on reprogramming automatic responses. And when I think about that, I think about parenting, because so much of our parenting is autopilot, is subconscious. It's my mum did this, my dad did this, and now I'm doing the same thing. And we don't even make the connections, that we're just parenting the way they parented. So often I'm doing things that I swore I would never do, but my dad did it, my mum did it, and here I am. So how do you work on reprogramming automatic responses?
I don't do anything that the client doesn't want me to do. So they come with a problem, and when they're speaking, I said, okay, wait. I see one. You want me to handle this right now? She said, okay, sure. So as they speak, and I keep on, seeing the beliefs, we stop there, and believe me, it's like you drop one, and so many opens. It's like what do you call them? The blocks. What's the word for them?
Is it the dominoes?
Dominoes, yes. Yeah. It's like the dominoes. Yeah. You challenge one limiting belief, and it opens so many for you, because they're like tied together, right? Mm-hmm. So you change one view, and everything it falls down, and the world opens for you. So sometimes I don't have to work even hard enough. I just have to pick up one thread, and you just pull it enough, all the strings go, Yeah.
It's like asking the right questions, and you don't know what ends up opening up. Also tell me, you must get many people who come to you, and there must be some who go on to make transformative changes in their lives, but there must be some who stay stuck in the same place as well. Like, what's the difference between the two?
People only come when they're tired of being stuck. I haven't found any client who didn't want to change.
No.
That's the difference between having clients who are willing to pay you and working in a school. I think when I started working with kids, I realized these are the people who I have to force to change. They don't want to, because when you go to, I don't want to, miss, give us a free lesson, they don't want to do the work. But when people come to you when they're very tired of their own, the same kind of patterns going on.
So you mentioned that by the time the client comes to you, they're already in a place in their life where they're ready to make changes. Because sometimes some therapists say that they have a client and they're in that chair for years and years and years, like almost as if they're just like talking about their problem rather than doing something about it.
There are some of them, I don't take them again. If you're not willing to do the work, please don't. Don't waste my time. Don't waste your time. Mm-hmm. So there are a few I've worked with them, but if they're not hearing me, if they're not of course, everybody has their own point of views, and sometimes the circumstances they come from are very hard. But when you go to the doctor, you have to take the medicine, right? So then I don't take them. It's a waste of their money, their time, my time. I don't take them then.
Completely. So Kiran, you are also an artist as well. And I remember reading in your book that the first time your work was displayed in a gallery, you thought the gallery had made a mistake. Talk to me about imposter syndrome.
I did my bachelor's in fine arts, and then I got married, and then one after another, the kids started showing up, and I didn't paint. And then after my fourth kid, I actually, I don't know how I started. I just started painting. Actually, we went to US, and there I saw my husband's auntie, and she had this nice workshop, and she was kind of reminded me of myself. And so I came home and I started painting, and then I saw this ad and I applied for it, and I got selected, and I'm like, what? I didn't even have paintings to display. It was really crazy. And then I didn't think it would go so well. Frankly, I didn't. I was very hesitant. And I think October was my first exhibition. And in March edition, I was already in Khalid Times. That was crazy. I never thought it would happen.
So you had your self-limiting beliefs that you didn't think you'd go that far?
It was, yeah. Art was one opening. I couldn't talk to people so much. I couldn't sell my painting because it asked me to. I was like, what kind of unfair thing is this? I painted because I can't talk, and now I have to talk to sell my painting. And I felt the same with the book. I said, I wrote because I'm not a good speaker. But then it made me into a speaker. I never thought I'll be speaking like this with you. I couldn't speak in front of a camera.
So all these things that we think we can't do, it's not even that we can't, we just probably haven't had enough experience or practice of doing it, or we've just told ourselves that we can't. And this is another thing you mention in the book, which is humility. And I will say, to a certain extent, humility is a problem in our community because we take it to the extreme so far that we don't even want to talk about what we've accomplished.
There's difference between humility and self-limiting beliefs. Because I remember I recently put this post from 6 years back talking to my friend about, that was my first ever podcast. With advocates, Shaza Kamar from Advocates, and before the podcast we were talking, and Shaza's like, talk about what you've achieved in art, and you're writing a book, and I'm like, Shaza, I can't say all of these things, and she's like, Kiran, you achieved this, and I couldn't actually say those. She had to say those words. I didn't.
Why?
Again, I didn't think it was real. I thought, I don't know. I couldn't say the words that I've done these things. And she's like, Kiran, accept this. You've already done this.
Do you believe it's wrong to share your accomplishments?
Yeah, it was like, the magic will be broken or something wrong will go. And talking about yourself is arrogance.
All sorts, and it just keeps you quiet.
It took me a long time.
Have you worked on that?
I did. Oh, a lot, actually.
Sounds like you've come a long way, that you can come.
Yeah. Now that you're talking about it, I had completely forgotten about that side of myself. I can't imagine not speaking on a stage.
And talking about what you've achieved.
Yes, and not, I have to stop myself from speaking too much about myself. But
it's definitely something that I think many people in our community still struggle with. They don't like to share their achievements, and either they think it's not being modest, or they think they might be getting the evil eye, or they fear that they're going to come across as being arrogant. So for all of those reasons, it's just easier, just don't speak about it. And it's something that we do need to work through. I'm glad you worked through it.
The narrative has to be there. Your narrative has to be there. Because, I mean, okay, I get it. Evil eye and all, you don't, like the hadith goes that you don't tell half-baked plans. But then once it's done, it's done. You've achieved it. Allah has given you a blessing. Just embrace it, you know.
I agree.
I think it's part of ungratefulness as well. When you don't you think?
I hear what you're saying, because you should proclaim the blessings of your Lord. And I think it's inspiring personally. Like if I'm hearing that a woman has done this certificate, accomplished this, or created this, or built this, I look at her and I think, wow, I can do that too. Rather than me thinking, oh, she's showing off, or she must be so arrogant. I'm not thinking that when I'm looking at her. So why do we think that somebody else might be thinking that when they're looking at you? So it's something to be worked at.
Again, it's insight. What is making you, feel like you have to step one step back when you look at the accomplishment of another woman? I mean, if you look at me 6 years back, I was just an artist. And if you look at me 10 years back, I was just a mom at home. So, I mean, if I can do it, anybody can. It's not that hard.
And it's good to be inspiring. It's good to show other women how you did it and that you can do it, because it does give hope to other women that it can be done. So, Kiran, you also work as head of Wellbeing at a school, and this is a department that you built from scratch. Tell me, what did you see that the young students needed that they weren't getting?
To be heard. I don't think students get heard enough. I don't think staff gets heard enough. Most of the time, when anyone comes in my office, I'm like, why are you here? Do you want to be heard? Do you want me to give you an advice? Or do you want to take it like officially? Mostly it's just, we just want you to hear us. 90% of cases don't get written in my log because they just want me to hear them.
That's empathy too, isn't it?
That is. What else is empathy? The room is theirs. They speak their heart out, and then, thank you, Ms. Kiran. Thank you for listening to me. And then they leave. And they don't need answers.
And they probably feel better.
They do. And believe me, I come back home so accomplished. So accomplished. Just because, people come, they sit with me. I'm silent most of the time. And they speak their mind off and they just leave.
And they felt much better. And it's really interesting because as women, we should really get that, because how often have you shared something with your husband and you're quite upset about something and he did this and she said this and now I feel mad, and he says to you, and what do you want me to do about this? And you're like, nothing, I just wanted you to listen.
Yeah,
and they've listened and you feel better.
And husbands are such doers. My mind would be like, let's do this. I said, now I have literally trained him. I'm like, I'm sitting down with you. I don't want answers. I just want to vent. And I give him all my problems, and he's trained him well, mashallah. He'll listen to it and he said, okay.
Because as men, we just want to get up and fix things and make a difference. But that's not what we want. We just want to be heard. So when you mention that people are coming to your office and they say, we just want you to listen, it's a human need to be heard, right? So coming back to your work as head of Wellbeing, you mentioned that emotional awareness is something that you feel so passionately about. Why is it important for you that we raise our next generation of students to be emotionally aware?
Because I think we had no idea of all that self-awareness that I speak about, that we've spoken about from the start to now. What is this? How would you know about yourself or your self-limiting beliefs, or the voice inside your head speaking so negatively about yourself, if you don't hear it, if you don't listen to this? So I start with them by recognizing emotion. The emotion is coming, and I do this 4 steps. The first is I hear it, and then any feelings are welcome, and then we do that. push the pause button. We have this kind of comic sort of a thing that you have to press the pause button and think that what is this emotion trying to tell me, and then and then reframe the situation. We worked on in the war. It was very rewarding. My department was very rewarding because the kids actually learned so much. I was so proud of them.
What did they learn?
We made calm kids. So we have sensory things in the. Everybody was supposed to make videos of the boxes where they had some sensory things, some spiritual elements like tasbih or Quran or from all religions, but just giving you an example. And then there has to be some sensory things like a teddy bear or your favorite toy, and things that give you comfort. So there was journals that they could write about. So we came up with Calm Kids. We came up with my anchor. So that they drew the anchors and what anchors them, and reframes. The situation is bad. Everybody knows it's bad. So what's your reframe? So one of them, actually, year, I think 4, and he wrote in the assignment, he said, the bomb can fall on me. And then he reframed it and said, Inshallah, the government of Dubai will stop them and Allah will save me.
Okay.
So, a hope in the government,
Yes.
a hope in in Allah.
Yeah, yeah.
That is a reframe, right?
Yes,
That
it
is
is.
how we want the children to, that there's a way out, that there's not only negative. How you can, we all have all kinds of thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the power to reframe them?
And make sense of what's going on around you? And I think a lot of the tools and strategies that you were sharing also remind me of emotional regulation. And there's so much buzzword around, we need to teach our children to be more emotionally regulated. But often I find parents, caregivers, teachers, adults ourselves never learned how to emotionally regulate ourselves. And I can't help but wonder, how can we teach that to our students or to our children?
So when my child, he's overwhelmed, he starts crying. He's 9 years old, turning 10. So I said, let's sit down. And we just breathe, and he stays with me, and I keep him close to me. And that, again, sensory. Mm-hmm. After 5 minutes, I said, how are you feeling? How about you go and do this? And he's up for it. So when you're stimulated, all children are stimulated. Mm. You need to just give them, some sensory anchor again, that they can calm themselves. That is emotional regulation, right?
It is, but I'm hearing that you have to be that anchor, but you need to know how to be that anchor. What if that adult doesn't know themselves what they should do when they're frustrated or overstimulated? What if they're the kind of adult who throws things across the room when they're...
Sadly, that is the case in a lot of cases. But the thing is, we all learn. I wasn't born like this. I had no idea. When I had my first one, I think I was, taking out anger on the younger ones. And my older one says, Mama, you're giving the grandparent love to the younger ones. Because I wasn't that calm when I was raising the adult ones. But then it's never too late, is it? I became a better parent for all 4 of them. And I think they deserved it. Yes. That, we take the opportunity to grow.
Yes. So once you learned, you were able to give those skills to the children. But it's so important that we as parents learn first.
It is very important.
So you also, as part of your work as head of Wellbeing, you've started a whole school campaign in journaling as well. Tell me, why is introspection and reflection, why is that important to you?
I think, first of all, once you take it out of your head and put it in the journal, half the weight is lost. Because when it's in your head, it's much heavier, and it's very heavy for the kids as well. So when we started the Wellbeing journaling campaign, First of all, it was very fun because I gave them all authority to use any kind of journals they love. They can use any kind of art. I'll make some movies and I'll send them to you. So creative. The kids are so creative. So, we give them prompts, and sometimes even if they don't want to take any prompts, that's okay. They can write about themselves, what they like. I have seen them because I realized that students are not given the opportunity to express themselves. So they took it as their space. They would write, my favorite songs are these, and these are the things I enjoy doing. These are my hobbies. Everybody has a different way of writing the journals. And believe me, it's a joy to go to, and from year 1 to year 11, all the classes did it. And a wonderful work has come up. And it's so beautiful to see that, mostly girls have taken it. Boys, not so much, because, writing, and I think to be vulnerable. Some kids have done it. Some boys have done it, but not all. From the boys, we didn't get that good a response. Till primary, we have a very good response, but in secondary, not so much. But the girls did, it was like they were waiting for something like that.
It's such an instrumental tool, and I think not just for students, but for adults as well. Like when you're feeling overwhelmed, or you can't make sense of things, or when your brain is so noisy, to be able to just get it out onto paper. It's like half the problem is solved just because you've got it out. So I think it's something everyone should do, to be honest. So you also mentioned, as part of your work with as head of Wellbeing, that it's important for you to help the students find their purpose and to live a life of meaning and to be true to themselves. But I have to ask, when students are that young, how do you even begin to have that conversation with them?
So we start the first, basically, our terms are divided in 3. And we take the well-being teachings, and the whole school works on the same thing. Different levels, the same topic. So everybody, if you have 3 siblings, everybody's working on the same thing at home. So first we talk about self-esteem, what you like, what you don't like, who are you as a person. That kind of gives you a starting space, right? And then from there, what are your values? What are your school's values? What are your home values? What is the country's value that taken? Because you see, we've taken up some of the Pakistani values and then some of UAE's value. We're such a mix. So it kind of, it helps the children to belong, and it's very important to belong. So they kind of find where this thing is coming. Older ones, but younger ones are generally very superficial. And from there, we go on to recognizing the emotion regulation, understanding emotions, what to do if something comes. We give them journaling prompts as well. And we do, sometimes we act it out. It depends. For me, my well-being classes are all what the kids want. If they want to act it out, okay, done. They're like, Miss, we are very tired. We just want to listen to a motivational speak. I'll put the motivational speak, and, so even, even if they learn one thing, and then I'll put a video and then I'll say, what did you learn from that? And we just have a very casual, my file always has Uno cards. So we sometimes just sit down and have an Uno game. Such uplifting. The laugh in my class are the loudest, and I wish nobody comes for inspection when I'm having the class, because it's everybody has their day, like it's a break actually. And then the third side, we did when the 2026 started, we did a throwback 2025. So what was your 2025 like? And what did you learn? And so it gives you a space, especially for students, that, okay, I had that kind of a conflict. This subject didn't go well. This is something I learned in my personal life. And then they talk about, what they want to be. Okay, very, very basic. Like, I want to be a footballer. Okay, for footballer, what do you need? What kind of practice do you need every day? We did this semester, we did the 7 habits of the most effective. So a lot of discussions came out of that. This win-win situation. What are win-win situations? What is first thing first? So a bigger concept, but broken down to kids of year 1 and and they did amazing, mashallah.
That's wonderful. And I love that we're having the kind of conversations with young people that we never had. And we're having these conversations with ourselves today. Why am I feeling like this? Where did it come from? How can I calm myself down? What's really bothering me? And it's wonderful to hear that you can do that at a younger age. So then they don't get to our age and start learning about themselves and figuring themselves out. So it's so instrumental, the work that you're doing. But when I hear your story as a whole and I think, okay, Kiran, award-winning author, artist, head of Wellbeing, and mother of 4, and then so many things, have you ever experienced overwhelm or burnout because of everything that you do?
So after my book came out, and there were a lot of, as I told you, in 2020 was my learning year. I was my best physically. I was working out a lot. I was learning so much because one course after another. And then I was writing the book. After the book, the speaking gigs started coming. So a lot of speaking opportunities. I kept on learning as well. And then 2022, I was offered another book, Who Moved My Heels, with 18 authors. We wrote about our struggles as entrepreneurs. That was the time I remember feeling, we went to Turkey, and I remember I would sit down anywhere and I would sleep. Airport, no matter how noisy the place is, I could feel that I was like, okay, just this leg, let the book come out. Just let the book come out. The book came out. And then again, a lot of talking opportunities. But that time, I left a few important ones. I remember there was a sheikha of like someone big was coming, and I couldn't get up make myself go and meet her. I was like, this dinner was so important. I had to meet her. It's when your book is coming out, it's very important you meet important personalities. I couldn't get up I couldn't go.
No energy.
I was just so tired. And then then came Eid. Then there was Ramadan, and then Eid. And after Eid, I had to run to Pakistan. My mother-in-law needed me for a few things. When I came back, I crashed. I crashed so bad, I couldn't get up from the bed for like 6 months.
Wow.
I don't know who picked up my kids, who dropped my kids. Like my husband was being the sole parent, and my kids were going to school in taxis. It was that bad. Like I was in the bed all the time. If I tried to get up, I would just crash out. There was no socializing. There was nothing. And from there, I'm not the same person ever since. Like I really burn out very quickly. Anything that comes. So I really need to manage my energy. So I see if something is taking a lot of toll on me, I have to, I give myself a few days. If something like work-wise, if something is really pressurizing, my next 2 days, I can't get off the bed. So there's a lot of management.
So now you listen to your body, because your body now tells you when you're doing too much.
My body left me no choice. So, for people who are like as crazy addicts as me, I would say just take it slow initially. Because, I think I spoke to you about that. When I started my Quran journey and the concept of Sabiqoon came, As-Sabiqoon, As-Sabiqoon, Ulaika al-Muqarrabun. For me, it was like it's a head-on start. You don't stop. And I did not stop. And years I went without stopping. Until I had to, until I was given no choice. Until prayer, basic salah, basic prayer, like even fasting becomes a hurdle. So I would say take it as a marathon, not a sprint. It's not a sprint. You have to be abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the rest of your life, for all your life. It's not just one, like, and if you work too hard, then you can't sustain it. So these are the things we were not taught.
And I think for people, high achievers like yourself, what happens is that I don't think you would have stopped. I don't think you would have taken a break had your body not forced you to take a break.
I'm very thankful for my body. That, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave it enough wisdom that it told me, Kiran, no, I won't go on. Because I would have gone. I wouldn't have cared for anything. It didn't matter if I was feeling well, I was not, I was gaining weight, I was not. If I was after something, I would just go head on.
But it's good. It was almost like a mercy from God to you that it's like, no, you can't carry on at this pace. You have to slow down. So
I think everything is, I think the lowest part of my life, I think those were the biggest mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It taught me so much that, I don't think the highs would ever tell you that.
Yeah. So I think often people who've gone through really dark periods in their life, they turn around and say it was the best thing that could have happened to me because now I am this person, or now I learned this, or I would never have got that lesson had I not gone through this.
Because I had this foot surgery and I was really big into gymming and all of that. And so that came as a surprise, like, okay, and it wouldn't heal. It just wouldn't heal. The doctor said, you'll be back in the gym in 3 months. I wasn't. It was, I didn't even take the hint then. And I thought, okay, now my leg has, how would I know my rest of the body wouldn't? I worked extra hard. And I think of myself like, what a silly thing to do. I worked extra hard to make up for, I was working extra hard in the gym. I was working extra hard in every space of my life. Of course, I had to.
I think that's the thing with burnout. You don't know what it is until later. At that time, you probably think, maybe I need more vitamin D, or maybe I need more iron. It's only later you connect the dots that, no, I was pushing myself. I did too much.
But I think a person like me has to have this wisdom so I can guide others.
I agree. Because burnout is more common than you think. So many people have gone through it.
And it's horrible. I'll tell you, it's horrible. There are days I can't get up from the bed. And again, the duck who doesn't show its flapping.
So nobody
would know. Nobody can ever catch me looking down.
Yeah, because you have to put on a front, you have to put on a face.
Because I have a lot of responsibility. And, you wouldn't want to go in the school and people would be like, this is the head of Wellbeing. She doesn't look well herself.
So, Kiran, we started with the book and I want to end with the book as well. So I watched a clip of yours online where you shared that the first time you held your book, your baby, in your hand, you cried and you said, oh no, now everyone's going to know I'm a fake and I'm doomed.
That day, I remember the books arrived in the box. I took it out. I didn't have any emotion at that moment. And then my friends had gotten together. We were meeting by the beach at a restaurant. And I was taking my books to give it to them. I went there and they're all congratulating me and they're happy for me, taking pictures of me. I just, I started crying. I said, oh my God, what have I done? Because it was like, it was me out in the open for anyone to read.
So if you could go back and speak to that Kiran, what would you like her to know?
I think it would be, I think she had to go through that.
Would you tell her, enjoy the moment?
I don't think it's possible. It's very, when you feel like the cat is out of the bag, it's at that moment.
So does she need to feel that? Does she need to feel the uncertainty and the fear?
I don't think it can be avoided. But yeah, I mean, if I read a book today, I wouldn't be as anxious. I'll be like, I've grown wiser. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. Yeah, really, I've
come a long way.
Yeah, I was all about people pleasing. a lot of generational trauma there from, how we have to be the nice girls. And so, yeah, no, it doesn't matter, really. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's my opinion. That's it. You can disagree.
But you're not going to get upset about it.
No.
That's okay.
No, it's your opinion.
Mm-hmm. So, thank you so much, Kiran, for coming and sharing your story. I want you to tell those, the listeners out there, that if there's anybody out there who'd like to work with you or benefit from your advice or purchase your book, how can they contact you?
So I'm available, my book is available on Amazon, and they can always contact me on LinkedIn or Instagram.
Great.
I'm always available there, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.